Everybody, so we're back, and I want to show off a couple more additions that we've done while on the stream that are coming into the next version. Probably be like version 5 of ICBM, because I'm going to go through probably all the artwork, do a lot more changes, and then we'll just release one big update before moving on from 1.12. So in the previous ones, I already showed a lot of the new artwork, kind of what we've been doing things, and then I kind of want to show off we can sort of do portals now. Now, ignore the mechanism portal because that doesn't work just yet. I'll be working on that here on stream shortly after this video is posted, just so that way we can get a little bit more functionality out of what portals we can do. I am trying to figure out a good way to handle these portals for all different mods, as the reality is there is no built-into Forge way of identifying what a portal is and how to handle it. There is ways to handle teleportation so that your entity knows it's being teleported and how it's being teleported. However, there is no way to tell which blocks can teleport it. So I'm going to go ahead and show off first the nether portal, and I'll just rebuild this here later, so we'll ignore it. And we'll show off, preferably with something a little bit nicer than the smoke missile. Let me go ahead and get that. And we'll go ahead and make sure we're linked here. One of the things that has changed is frequencies can now be string values, so you can do whatever you want with them. And that will go through the portal. You can kind of see the smoke did go out the back here, but that's more of the smoke that was traveling with it. You see no explosion over here in the distance, no explosion behind it, no explosion on the portal. Previous versions, it was a hit or miss whether it would go through the portal, because it theoretically could, but one of the problems you would run into is it would smack the portal and either go off or would not stay in the portal long enough to be teleported. This is very consistent across all different kinds of portal mechanics. But now what it can do is it can hit the portal, it will identify that this is a portal, and it will actually go through the portal and end up impacting things. Now in this case, it went through and hit this wall back here, but it will vary because like with nether portals, they're not as predictable as other modded portals. So this will, we're kind of getting blinded out by this. Even though it's a little bit easier to see that that's going on, these will go through the portals. They will actually go through them. You just have to be careful when you do walk through the portal that the other side isn't chunk loaded. So it will go through the portal, stop, wait for it to be loaded, and then go back out. So if you are, actively firing missiles through portals, it's probably a good idea to figure out how to get both sides to be loaded so that way you are getting a response. Now with this version, this only really works to be able to fire the missile through it. It does not have any mechanics to then have that missile redirect towards something else. That will be coming like way down the road. I plan to do a scriptable missile system, so that way you can fire missiles through portals and through different types of systems, and then have the missile understand that that has happened, and for it to then do something else. And that will either come in a way of on teleport detection, or it will come with, it goes like after 5 seconds, rotate this way. So you could do like time-based steps. So we can handle nether portals, and we can also handle the other types of portals that are in vanilla here. Let me go grab an ender frame here. And it took me a little bit on stream to figure out how to actually build these. I've never actually bothered to build one of these before today. So for those of you who didn't know how to do this as well, this is how it works. There is orientation. The orientation does matter. And you build this like 3x3 grid. And you will place enderize in here. Usually you'll find these, so this is not like a kind of a feature that is like super useful. This is more of just, this is kind of cool. We can do this. We can have a little bit of fun with it. I can do the same thing over here. I can now target this. I can have that fire, and that didn't work. One of the reasons why you'll end up having this happen, there is some weird behavior with single player nether. You go in the nether, you come back out of the nether, it will cause behavior problems, and this is really down to vanilla, because like we went through and we did try to fix a lot of stuff on stream with what was happening with the radio system, because this actually is a radio system. So the packet's now firing from the laser detonator out to the radio system, and the launcher right there is going, I don't know what happened. And so we're going to work around this by actually just firing the chemical missile normally. And I'll go ahead and fire it through the portal. And you'll see it kind of go off on a weird side here. That's more of just a localized animation. So the missiles on the server and client may desync and show up a little bit different. But we should be able to go through, and you'll see that it does actually create the explosion on this side. You'll see what's left of some of the particles here. So we'll go through that, and it should also be able to support the other kind of portals you will find in the end. So you can shoot it through this here. I still have yet to figure out exactly where these go when they fire through this. So we will go through this portal, and the theory currently is by people who are watching the stream that this is going to the starting of the world. So it's going to wherever world spawn actually is. But it will fire through. It will go through there. You actually don't hear it go off in this case. And then if we can find one of the ender gateways. Okay, here's one. Yeah, these things were a little bit confusing. I had to go figure out that Minecraft has like 3 different portal types, and they all behave differently. The first 2 we saw behave on collision. Another portal will go like, this entity has collided with me, I can teleport it. And it will actually do like a set portal effect on the entity and then do a countdown. So for the missile, we actually had to remove that countdown and say, hey, teleport me instantly. For the end portals, they were already instant to start with. You touch the portal, it teleports you through. That's some weird collision checks that the missiles did not really like. But with this one decided to be different. It's not collision check based. Instead, it actually detects that the entity is in the portal, and it has to be there for a couple ticks, which is a problem because missiles move incredibly fast. And I actually have the speed turned up really, really high. I almost forgot to note that. So for servers, when you are running them, or just changing with mod packs and stuff, keep in mind the higher the speed values you set on things, the more likely this is to behave strangely. In theory, I have made it work so that way it should work in most cases, because it will actually ray trace, detect it as a portal, it will try to move the missile to where that portal block is, and then it will try to teleport. For the end gateways, it is actually ray tracing just instantly teleporting, simply because that is the best option. Especially since these are not cross-dimensional teleports, these are position to position. But I can aim here, I can do that, and it'll go through. So you can see that went off, it actually has teleported. I can now wait a second and get myself an ender eye here, and I can follow it through. And you can see the missile went through and actually go through that. Now this is kind of cool. It's a bit impractical. There's not a lot you can do with it right now. Later, this could be kind of neat depending on what you guys are doing via mod packs and you're doing via different map designs. You could fire missiles through these, have some weird effects go off. Have some fun with it. But it also kind of introduces the idea that we can now support different modded ecosystems for their kind of portals. And eventually, once we get scripting built into the project and actually implement all that, this now allows ICBM to cross-dimension fire missiles a lot more effectively. This also does mean we can also add logic in for handling stuff like galactic craft, so that way when you fire a missile up to a certain thing, you possibly could have that missile understand that it has now left into space and can now hit another planet. So we could try to do cross-dimension planetary based missile launching. That one I still have to figure out exactly how we're going to do it. Same for advanced rocketry and any other project that works that way. But then we could do things like being able to fire through Twilight Forest portals. So that's actually next on the list to do as well. Those should work on collisions, so those ones should not be too difficult to do. I just need to go make a configurable list of blocks that users and modpack makers can add to that and say this is a portal, this is also a portal, this is also a portal, and how to handle it. And for anything more complex than that, we just have to do API support. So Mechanism would be an example of that, where that will probably require API support and other things. But it's kind of neat. It gives a lot of possibility on what can and cannot be done. And hopefully introduces a lot more mechanics. But I'll go ahead and leave it here. And if for all those who want to see more progress on this, feel free to join our Discord to kind of follow the updates and see what's going on, as well as the stream to watch, in real time what is happening.